You know the slogan, don't mess with Texas, but these days it's looking more like a mess in Texas. Lawmakers there face an unexpected $4.3 billion deficit at the end of the current fiscal year, and the state may need to close a huge budget gap during the next 2 years. Governor Rick Perry has been resistant to raising taxes, and that could mean cutting back on health care and education. The governor spoke today in the capital, Austin.
We need to balance the budget with existing revenues, evaluating every state program to determine wants versus needs, then resisting the call to raise taxes.
Melissa Long is in Austin, and she has been following that story, and joining her to discuss is Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst. Melissa?
Mark, thank you. Yes, the state here looking at the biggest two-year budget gap it's ever seen. And Lieutenant Governor joining us to talk a little bit more about that right now and some of the challenges before the legislature. Thanks for your time. I know you're busy today, like all days. So Moody's is saying that there is a budget gap of potentially $15 billion. There are other estimates of $25, even $27 billion. What's correct here?
Well, first of all, those are just different advocacy groups that are saying that, that we ought to spend more money. I don't know of any family, mine included, any business that's automatically increasing their spending 10 to 15%. This is nonsense. The yellow rose of Texas is vibrant and blooming. We're doing very well. Keep in mind, all the other states have been having shortfalls, deficits in 2009, 2010. We didn't. So we have a 2-year. This is the biennium budget, and so we are in the process of coming together. We saved $10 billion last year, so we got $10 billion in reserve. Our revenues are up for the next 2 years over what we're currently spending.
All right, so you've touched on a couple of points here. I want to talk about the yellow rose is blooming here, but there are those that are concerned about health and human services being cut and people concerned about educational programs being cut.
I think at the end of the day, we get very close to what we're currently spending on public education. We go back in and do the thing that'll help so many people. We slash these unfunded mandates. On health and human services, we're going to fund all of Medicaid. I'm a very strong supporter of a safety net for people that are truly vulnerable. So we're going to provide the essential services in Medicaid. We're trying to get as close as we can to what we're currently spending on public education, fund all of our public safety, put new money into our transportation, building roads. So I think we're in pretty good shape.
So how do you continue to fund Medicaid at these levels and continue to fund education at these levels when you consider the population growth that this state has seen? I understand an estimated 2.9 million people will move here just over the next 5 years.
Yeah, we're the fastest growing state in the country, so we're going to have people moving in. Now, that's obviously a strain, but right now, folks don't want us. I mean, this past election showed people that they don't want their government, state government or the federal government, to be spending more money than they take in. At the same time, we owe it to the people of Texas to provide all of the essential services. So we're going through, not across the board cuts, agency program by agency program, and where we have the same importance as when we put the program in, such as caring for the elderly, frail, the disabled, our public schools. We're going to provide as close to or more funding for those. But the programs that don't have the same priority, we're not going to fund those.
You mentioned earlier that there's the rainy day fund. You currently have, it's a $4.3 billion deficit at this very moment. You're going to dip into the rainy day fund. I understand that the House Appropriations Committee head is saying that's the way to go. The governor not on board with that idea.
Well, I think what the governor's saying, I think what I'm saying is, let's start with the base budget. The base budget will come out in about a week. And in 2003, when we had a $10 billion shortfall and we balanced our budget, we started with zero. So that's not very helpful. So we have actual numbers. Our budget will come in about $72, $73 billion, all right? And that's a starting point. So we'll go through months and months of looking at program by program, programmatic reductions, that if it doesn't have the same importance to the people of Texas, then we're not going to fund it, even though it's got its advocacy group and people want to see it. We got to look at what's in the best interest of all 25 million people.
Okay, speaking of what's in the best interest, I understand that also the head of the House Appropriations Committee has said, let's consider gaming, bringing gaming into the state. I understand that it's a pretty hot entity for people who want to cross over into Oklahoma. Is that a possibility here in order to drum up some revenue?
Well, it's a possibility if the 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate want to go in that direction. I'm personally opposed to the expansion of the footprint of gaming here in Texas. We've got simulcast at some of our racetracks, but I think we need to focus on the fundamentals, and that's what we're doing. We saved $10 billion. 2007, we saved $9 billion, and so we were in good shape last year. We saved $10 billion in the 2009 session, so we got almost $10 billion. So we're going through the process of what are essential services. We're going to fund those. Those that are not essential, we're going to tighten the belt on those.
And the governor this morning, in an address before a policy session, was talking about the fact that in the most recent election, there was a resounding call, according to the governor, to keep taxes as is, to not increase taxes. And the governor was very critical of what's going on in Illinois. Why is that the best situation? Why is that what should play out here, to keep taxes as is?
Well, the thing that differentiates Texas, and I think is the reason why the business magazines rate us as #1 place to do business in the country, the fact that since 2005, Texas has created 80% of all the new private sector jobs in America. The reason why more people are coming in to Texas than any other state is because we've got predictability. The federal government has no predictability. They're spending $5 for every $3 they take in. You can't tell me, I can't tell you what the federal tax rate is in 2 years. I'm the only traditional business person elected out of 29 statewide elected officials, and I look at numbers every day. We're numbers driven, and so we're looking at how to keep the state attractive. We have a predictable business climate. We keep taxes low. We have a light hand on regulation, but we're protecting people, and people are coming here in droves.
Speaking of that, I just want to wrap up. You're talking about elections. You eyeing Senate seat right now?
Right now, we'll put out a statement on that, okay. But I'll probably take a very serious look at it, but not until after the session. I've got a lot of things in front of me right now.
On the plate, a lot of challenges. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you. Not many people make me look short. You make me look short. Appreciate it. Mark, back to you.
Melissa, Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst, thank you so much.